Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Well, I got my pride of the fleet here. This is a 1943 Allis Chalmers Hd10. It's fitted with a 471 Detroit. Runs very good. My dad actually restored this one back in the late 90s. He was operating it. They were doing a job with it somewhere, and not quite sure what they were doing. They might have been ripping or disking. He used to pull a 14-foot disc with this piece of equipment, and they were out ripping with it or disking with it one day, and the input shaft broke. Something about the bearing or something along those lines. It broke, and he took it all the way apart. He was able to find the rear end, and that's the rear end he currently has in it. This rear end was rebuilt by the government from World War II, and it was actually Army green, all of that, stone cosmoline, and had been refurbished at some point, maybe in the 40s or 50s, by the government. And he put in this piece of equipment, and it actually changed the gear ratio quite a bit. It went from, the only way I could really designate the difference between these HD10s is this cover right here, if it's an early one or a later one. And the later ones had a little lower first gear, and the earlier ones were a little higher geared. And this machine's a little higher geared now, and the serial number and all that translates it into a 1943. The original rear end is a 1946. But overall, it's a very fun tractor. I really enjoy using this. It is rather loud. It's a little hard to work on because all this stuff in the back, all the rear end components, undercarriage components, are all based for the Allis Chalmers S, which is a gas tractor. And that's kind of a reason why AC went with the Detroit. It's because in theory, the Detroit was a smoother running engine than a lot of diesels at the time. They were trying to use like a Hesselman diesel in a lot of the SOs, KOs, the LOs, and all that stuff. They're just kind of funky. So, two-stroke Detroit, honestly, in my opinion, was kind of ahead of its time. You know, big direct start. They're a little bit noisy, and as you can tell, this one leaks almost a little bit too much, I believe, right now. I just noticed it had a air leak, a little bit of a leak around the number 2 air box, which that's not good. And it had a massive valve cover leak and massive exhaust leak. So I'm sure we'll be addressing those issues on the engine on this channel. And it also had, when I fired it up today, I also noticed it had a steering issue on the right side. Appears the right final got overfilled and leaked into the clutch compartment. I have the inspection cover off here. This is actually where you can find the serial number, as you can see right here, nice and diesel-y, all right there, and it's got the 10W on it, so this is a wide gauge one also. It's fitted with a BG pump. This particular tractor, it didn't have these headlights. My dad was able to find these back in the 90s with the advent of eBay. That was one of his first purchases, as he told me. And overall, it's a pretty well stand-up tractor. I really enjoy running it. It has its quirks and everything, like all old equipment does, but it's actually quite fun to run. And I'll be starting it up here real quick.